Yo, what's happening, everyone? Brum, I just moved in the last second to reframe me. Brum, get it? What's up, y'all? Welcome into a brand new edition of Snaps. Back from my vacation, back from Disney after a 13-hour ride home yesterday with 3 kids under 5. We're feeling good today. Happy birthday to my 5-year-old, as it is her birthday today. This is Snaps, your favorite daily college football podcast, where we talk all things college football. I am one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert, joined by QB1, Mr. Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, dude?
The 13 hours in a minivan with 3 kids under the age of 5 sounds like a nightmare for those in the chat. I'm sure can agree with that. That's why I'm getting snipped after 2, so I have to worry about it. So that's first off. Second off, you look good, T-Bob. There's nothing like coming back from a good trip to the happiest place on earth.
Yep.
And you just feel better about life. You got some good color. You're not as white as you usually are. Got a little bit tan there in that Florida sunshine. Yeah, you look good. Seem very happy as well. Who enjoyed the trip more? Who enjoyed the trip more, T-Bob? You or the kids? Because I know you love some Disney World.
It's tough to say. And it's funny because, like, you know, I went through the thing that I think a lot of privilege, I should say, kids go through where, you know, growing up, Disney was awesome when I was little, but then I was, you know, I kind of fancied myself a little too old for it, right? I wanted to go to Universal. I wanted to ride roller coasters. I wanted to do the, you know, Disney didn't have a lot for me. So it's only in like having kids again that I fully rediscovered my love. And I don't know, man, something about me and my wife, I don't got any shame. Yeah. I'll admit it. We kind of became, you know, while the kids are this young, we have given ourselves over to, we are going to be Disney people. And that's okay. Okay. It's okay to be a Disney person. Live your truth. I don't want anybody to hide their passions under a bushel. Okay. So I'm not going to either anymore. I think Epcot beers are top 3 greatest beers in the entire world. Okay. I said it the other day on the show. I'll say it again. To me, the best part in this all, I don't want to be too serious or emotional here, because you know me, I'm just here to make like vaguely sexual innuendo and absurd metaphors that don't really make sense, but are wrapped up in pseudo intellectualism. So like, I don't want to get too far outside of my shtick here, but I like, the best part is being present. You're present there with your family. It's awesome. The kids are loving it. Everybody's, and this is all travel, but you know, when it's stuff that they love, it makes them a little more excited, which makes you a little more excited. And so, yeah, it was great. I feel great. I'm ready to roll because we got a lot to talk about today. We got the Colts being very smart, very shrewd in a latest mock draft from CBS, trading up to take Anthony Richardson number 1 overall. The Pac-12 looks more and more like he'd be potentially dying. Deion Sanders laid out a somewhat controversial blueprint for how he recruits players. The FanDuel Sportsbook app, which shout out the FanDuel Sportsbook app, promo code SNAPS when you sign up. FanDuel actually has early lines already, Aaron, for next season. I've already put in my first parlay of the 2023 football season. Not to brag. Okay, I'm ahead of the curve here. So I do want to look at maybe some future lines and see what interests you. Aaron, how are you feeling? You feeling good? You ready to roll?
Ready to roll. I know you are excited about this Anthony Richardson thing, and I'm very disgusted by the entire thing. I don't know if it was more clickbait, and I'll let you introduce the whole segment if you want to. But like, is it clickbait? Is it to get views? The headlines? I don't get it. Like, the Will
Forward,
Levis
Aaron, the
makes
headline
more
is
sense to
made
me.
for it to get views.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Will Levis. Yeah, this is true. Will Levis makes more sense to me at 1 than Anthony Richardson. I'll say that.
Wow, a lot of problematic implications there, Aaron. Here's the deal, Aaron. I agree with you. I saw Colts trading up to take Anthony Richardson 1 overall, and my initial thought was, wow, CBS, that's how you do mock draft season, okay? Get the people going. If nothing else, this AR-15 take is going to generate heat, right? But then being the pseudo-intellectual that I am, like I said, I started to really sit down. I started to really think about it. I said, okay, I want to parse through this. Let's critically think about this. Is there actual validity there? And suddenly, more and more, my eyes started to be open that this is a good idea. And it's not actually that crazy. In fact, it's one of those great takes where it both generates heat, but is built on a foundation of enough legitimacy as to warrant actual discussion. Aaron, you seem very upset right now. Do you want me to give my points first, or do you want me to counter?
Yeah, I would love
I will let you counterpunch.
I would love your expert opinion on why Anthony Richardson should go ahead of these other quarterbacks. Yes, please go.
Okay. Okay. First off, Aaron, we know that more and more in the NFL, dual threat quarterbacking is the name of the game, right? The need for a quarterback to throw the ball is lessened year by year. The need for a quarterback to run the ball is increased year by year. Well, Anthony Richardson has the highest rushing grade of any quarterback in the SEC over the last 2 years. You're like, oh, but his stats suck. Okay. Who did the Colts just hire to be their head coach? Shane Steichen, right? Who has he worked with in the past? Couple of quarterbacks who people doubted that have ended up being elite, right? Like Justin Herbert's stats kind of sucked coming out of college. Granted, they were a bit better than Anthony Richardson, but they were nothing to write home about. In fact, that was one of the big knocks on him going into the draft. Now everybody talks about him like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. Jalen Hurts was viewed as a guy that couldn't throw the ball well enough to be in the NFL, could not play NFL quarterback. Now you saw what Jalen Hurts did this last year. It looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. He also has experience with Phillip Rivers, that odd throwing style. So like already, and this is why I said for the Colts specifically to trade up, it makes sense, okay? Because Shane Steichen has a track record here of developing guys that maybe haven't looked like the best. And Aaron, there's also the school of thought that, look, you're always talking about Bryce Young, right? You're always talking about how Bryce Young is number 1. The only thing that concerns you is what? His size, okay? So there is a school of thought out there that when you're drafting this high, you want to put your thumb on the scale for guys who are true outliers, who are the physical freaks, the unicorns, whatever, the guys that cannot be physically recreated. And Anthony Richardson is just that. Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing him against LSU a couple of years ago throw a ball that basically touched the moon before it came back down from the 50 and dropped perfectly in the pocket for a touchdown. I saw him run for an 80-yard touchdown against LSU this last year. So, yeah, man, given the context of what Steichen has done in the past, given just the raw physical attributes of Anthony Richardson, and his running ability in an ever-changing NFL, yes, Anthony Richardson should be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft.
Good for you, T-Bob. I love you taking a stand for this right now. I'm not questioning his freaky. I guess he's not like really a freak. I don't know about that, but he's a freak athlete on the football
Huh.
field. He is superb. Like, yes, he's big, he's strong, he's physical. He can throw a ball a country mile. To me, the issue that lies with drafting a kid at number one is there's a sense of urgency to play. When you draft a kid at one, you're giving him the keys to the car. You're saying this is your team, whether it is first game of the season, whether that is 8 games in the first within that first season. It's not, hey, we're going to draft you and we're going to put you on the bench for 2 or 3 years as you develop. The difference between him and Jalen Hurts, Jalen played 3 or 4 years in college football. He had a ton of snaps and he got better and better and better. Obviously, he took a massive step throwing the football in his last year at Oklahoma, which then parlayed him into where he is right now at Philadelphia. But he had a lot of reps. He saw a lot of defenses, played in multiple offenses, got a lot of the footwork done. Anthony Richardson is just, in my opinion, really, really green and needs to play a lot of football, needs to make mistakes, needs to go through the basics before he's ready to take that next step as a starting quarterback in the NFL with the pressures of being a first-round draft pick. So is Anthony Richardson good enough tool-wise to be the first pick in the draft? Yes. Is he too raw for me to trust him in his first season, or even, I would say, even second season as an NFL quarterback? Yes. And this comes back to the bigger problem. When you put that pressure on a quarterback, and when the expectations are that high, and they're going to be that high when you're the first pick in the draft, and those expectations are not met within the first 2 years because he's not ready, you hurt your franchise, you hurt any potential he has, and it's all hell from there. To me, Anthony Richardson would have been better 2 things. One, had he stayed at Florida for at least 1 more year, probably 2 years. I think he needed 2 more years. He just needs to play football. And he needs to go somewhere where, if he does go to the NFL, which he decided to go to, he needs to go somewhere where he could sit for at least 2 years, play in the preseason games, play in mop-up duty, and then in 2 years take the reins when he's more ready to take on an NFL offense. This has nothing to do with his physical ability. This goes to the being prepared to play on an average to below average football team and take on that pressure when you've played little football in your life.
Well, here's the deal.
And haven't played well.
You're a successful businessman, right? You would say? This makes sense, right?
Not bad.
Okay. Yeah. No, you do well. You have your hands in many different pies. You understand money and the levers that create and lose money. And this idea that he should return for another year, I get the root of it, right? He should return for another year just to prove that he can actually play the position better. But actually, no, he should not. If you're already in conversations about getting drafted first overall,
yes,
what the hell would you return for? What are you going back to college for? What do you have to prove? If I'm such an outlier that somebody's still going to take me in the first 15 picks or in that first round, I'm going to the NFL. And then I'm going to figure it out after that. And you say it's going to fit.
That's
you don't
the problem.
Draft, and also, but here's the problem. You think that they're going to treat him like every other first overall pick is treated, right? Well, no, I don't think so. In the same way that he is a unique case physically, it's a unique case for how I think you have to approach him. Because not only is he kind of inexperienced, like we talked about, but he's very young. So I'm doing like a Joe Burrow Cincinnati thing where I'm basically building I'm having a built-in redshirt year for him. Now you say Burrow Cincinnati, what are you talking about? He ended up getting hurt that year. Actually, I think he played in like 11 games. So it's not a great analogy. But my thing is, I say you draft Richardson first overall. Don't play him at all this first year. Be bad. And then go get your Jamar Chase. Okay? Get whoever you need to team up there with Anthony Richardson. And then in 2 years, you're going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, it's throwing the ball. Like, I'm so tired of y'all acting like quarterbacks need to be able to throw the ball. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Look at all the quarterback running that's going on nowadays. When did we all become beholden? When did we become slaves to this idea that quarterbacks have to be able to throw the ball?
Look at the past quarterbacks that have won championships have all been guys that can throw the football. And when's the last time Lamar Jackson won a Super Bowl? Jalen got him there, but didn't
Wow.
win it. Like, yeah,
It wasn't
it's
Jalen
great.
Hurts' fault they lost that game. It was Philly's defense that got its ass kicked, dude.
I
Jalen
know,
Hurts
but
did
so
his job.
when it comes to Super Bowls, Patrick Mahomes says too, he has 0. And obviously, to me, Patrick's he's the middle ground because he's mobile enough to take off and run, yet he's still a passer first. And I still believe the best quarterbacks in the NFL are pass first. I use my legs when I need them. I use my legs when things break down. I use my legs when it's, a third and long situation. A team wants to play 2-man. There's no one there responsible for the quarterback. I know it, and I take off and get a first down. The Joe Burrows of the world can do that. Justin Herbert can do that. Patrick Mahomes can do that. Like those guys are passer first, runner second.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Anthony Richardson is runner first, pass second. So if you want to draft him and do play him as a rookie year and say, kid, just go be a runner, go be an athlete, you're building bad habits. You're only reassuring to him that, hey, you've always been the better athlete. You've always been bigger and stronger and faster and can just always run and run and run. Just go do that. And we'll figure out the passing along the way. That's not how it works. Like there needs to be some sort of finished product to work with to have that sort of balance. Because I tell you what, if you expect him to go out there and be Cam Newton and just run the football, and look what Cam had a lot of success. Cam made it to Super Bowl 2, didn't win it, but made it to Super Bowl.
Talking about an NFL MVP
now because of his. But look at where Cam is now with the longevity of his career because of the style of football he played. When you draft a first pick in the draft NFL quarterback, there is an expectation, as there should be, and a hope that we just drafted a guy that is going to be our starting quarterback for the next at least 10 years, 10, 12, 15 years. That's what you want to do. Make it through 3 or 4 contracts. If I'm drafting a guy like Bryce, who I have concerns with because of his stature, or a guy like Anthony Richardson, who's just going to try to be a bulldozer as he tries to figure out how to throw the football, I don't feel good that guy's going to be my quarterback in 10 years. You're trying to build your foundation as a franchise, and your foundation is a quarterback. We all know it. It starts with the quarterback. And if you want to build long-term success, not just a quick flash here or there, you need a guy that can stay on the field. You need a guy that can stay healthy, and you need a guy that can throw the damn football.
Well, I mean, look, we don't, but okay, so that's the great part about Anthony Richardson, right? We don't actually know how well he can throw the ball because he's so young and so raw. Now, we do know that he has elite arm talent, and you may say, well, that's great, but you can't teach accuracy. But no, you can. Go look at Joe Burrow's jump 2018 to 2019. Understand he was working with Jordan Palmer. Go look at Josh Allen's jump from college to the NFL. He was working with Jordan Palmer. It's all about your body mechanics, your base, your hips, everything. I mean, it's the entire body working in concert. It's what an elite athlete can accomplish. But Anthony Richardson, you were talking about, like, if you were a sculptor, yeah, granted, it's just a giant block at this point. But Anthony Richardson is the most goddamn beautiful Italian marble that you could hope to get your hands on, okay? And you're just going to chip, and you're going to make it better and better and better. It's like the old Family Guy thing, right? I mean, a boat's a boat.
But how long does he have? How long does he have? That's the problem, T-Bob. It's not. If you gave me
how long does Josh Allen have? Answer the question.
Josh has played a lot more football than he did. If you gave me, Josh wasn't the first pick. Josh was not the first overall pick in the NFL draft either.
Yeah, but he should have been. Huh?
Okay, right? Hindsight 2020, like maybe yes. Let me just say, perfect world. If you would tell me if I'm the Colts and then the fan base and everyone involved would buy into give us 3 or 4 years to figure this out, then yes. Great, do it. Take a chance. Yes, take the ultimate chance. Sit his butt on the bench for 2 years. I think Matt Ryan's coming back next year. I don't think he's retired. No, he's mulling it right now. Have a veteran quarterback player for a couple of years.
I would bring back Matt Ryan and Jeff Saturday and make Steichen and Richardson just work in a room for a year alone and lose as much as possible to set up Anthony Richardson for the after that.
But do you think that's possible? Like that's the problem in this society. When you look at, okay, so let's look at the quarterbacks getting drafted. We're the Colts. We move up to 1. We take Anthony Richardson. Someone else takes Bryce Young. Someone else takes C.J. Stroud. Someone else takes Will Levis. We're in week 5 of the NFL season. Those 3 quarterbacks who all also got taken inside the top 10 are starting for their franchise. Yeah. Say 2 of them are having decent success. Bryce Young is on pace to be Rookie of the Year. And you're sitting there as an Indianapolis Colts saying, well, we took a guy at number 1 overall. He's not playing, but Bryce Young's playing, and he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. Why isn't our guy playing? You start feeling you're a 2-6 team, 3-7 team at that point, whatever it may be. And you're like, fuck it, let's play him. Let's do it. He goes out there, he's not ready, falls on his fucking face. And all of a sudden now all the fans are saying, we screwed up. We should have drafted Bryce. We should have drafted him. It sounds good right now to say, we will wait, we will be patient. But as soon as you're 7 games, 10 games into the season, and all these other quarterbacks are playing and a couple of them are having success, and you force him into the starting lineup and he doesn't play well because he's not ready, then all of a sudden you screw him, you screw the franchise, and all of a sudden you're talking about, is he good enough to be a starting quarterback year 2? And was he a bust? That's the problem. He is not ready, and he's going to be put in a bad situation.
You're not wrong if you were talking about a fragile NFL fan base or a weak NFL owner. But the Indianapolis Colts are neither. Jim Irsay does whatever the hell Jim Irsay wants, for better or for worse. It's actually one of the reasons why I kind of love him, right? So if he really believes in this idea, Jim Irsay will do it. And Colts fans are so passionate. And if you look on Colts Twitter, they're talking themselves into Anthony Richardson. They are so passionate that they would be willing for this project. And let's go back to Josh Allen, who is the ultimate comp for all these sort of guys, right? The potential overproduction guys that we tend to become enamored with. The Bills traded up.
One guy's done it. Now he's like if Josh can do it, anyone can do it. But let's forget about every other quarterback that was ever drafted who was not accurate as a passer and didn't have success.
Okay, then let's remember a couple who were. How about that? Go. Who was drafted number 1 overall in the year that Josh Allen came out? Baker Mayfield. He was pretty damn good, wasn't he? He was awesome until he wasn't. He was awesome good at college. He had all the stats, Heisman's, all of it, and then he's ended up not being good in the NFL.
Well, Heisman quarterbacks suck. Let's just be honest.
Flirted with being okay. Who was the number 3 overall pick the year when Josh Allen came out? A guy who was very proven in college, accurate, California pedigree, Sam Darnold. He's not very good. So if you're going to tell me, okay, do I want to draft somebody who's going to be a bust but a normal guy? This idea that you're
taking one draft class and now everyone's just I just hate that.
I just Googled the Josh Allen draft class. I'll go year by year. Okay, let's go to the 2019 draft class.
I'm just saying, everyone is now taking Josh Allen as okay, we'll take a chance because of that. Josh Allen is a rare case in the history of football. Josh Allen is the exception, not what is going to happen. Okay, whatever quarterback, there's not been a lot of quarterbacks we've seen that have been a mid-50 completion percent quarterback in college turn into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. That is rare.
Yes, that is rare. There have been a ton of elite quarterbacks that have turned to shit.
Of course there have been.
NFL. Yeah, exactly.
100% there have been. Yes. It's all – every risk is risky, T-Bob. Don't make me have to say it again, Dan.
Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. Welcome to drafting nihilism. Nobody knows anything. There are no best criteria. Don't give me that shit about hiring the best person for the job because you don't know who the best person for the job is.
Otherwise,
Josh McDaniel wouldn't get a job. Or Adam Gase wouldn't continue to get head coaching jobs. So, yeah, I start to understand being tempted by the outlier nature of Anthony Richardson and just that incredible physical skill set, dude. Kyler Murray drafted number 1 overall in 2019. Sucks. Daniel Jones drafted 6. Okay, Daniel Jones kind of another project guy that seemed to have worked out a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Project guy, not good stats coming out of college. but they loved his raw tools. Look at him now. He just checked all those boxes. It's like your
he,
boy Will Levis.
But he could throw and run. He had the tools though. That's the difference.
Why?
Like he
Why?
showed
Because Cutcliffe told you that.
No, because you could watch the film and see the kid could actually throw a football, and he could run. He could do both. It's more than he just needs reps, but he has demonstrated a very high level of success throwing a football, and he's also demonstrated a very high success of being an athlete and running the football as well. The question was, could that translate to the NFL playing at Duke and playing in an ACC? It wasn't a question of could he do those. It was, could he do it at that level? The question with Anthony Richardson is, will he ever get to be an accurate thrower? Will he ever get to be a 60% thrower? Yeah. So there is questions about his ability to do that. I'm not questioning his ability to throw a ball a country mile.
Go ahead.
No, I was done. Or Shane who?
Oh, sorry. I don't know. No, this delay is going to be the death of me. That's where Shane Steichen comes in. Okay. He is your Michelangelo. Was he a sculptor? Who sculpted David?
Michelangelo was definitely a sculptor.
Okay, there you go. Yes, he's Michelangelo, and Anthony Richardson is that beautiful Italian marble that they just floated down to Florence or wherever to try to craft into the next David. I would much rather draft Anthony Richardson than Will Levis. 10 times out of 10. Bryce Young, it's a little closer.
Where do you put CJ in this?
Stroud,
where do you put CJ?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are above Anthony Richardson, but wow, so Bryce Young is now a shitty draft class? Do you think, dude?
This is not the year to need a quarterback. If I'm a franchise, I said it on the show like 2 months ago, tank for Caleb, tank for Drake. I mean, those two dudes are significantly better than all four of the guys that are going to get drafted this year in the top 10 picks. You can't tell me that. Caleb would mop the floor with these guys. Drake would mop the floor with these guys.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Needy league.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to pick them. You have to pick them.
You know what's funny? You remember the old ludicrous line, I want a lady in the streets but a freak in the bed? During this entire conversation, I realized with quarterback play, it's actually a bit of the opposite, right? Like Luda's saying, when we're in the privacy of our home, we're confined in our home, I want you to be freaky and weird, but when we're out, I want you to be a genteel lady. And quarterback play, when you're in the confines of the pocket, I want you to be a disciplined lady that's doing all the right things. But when you get outside, that's when I want you to start getting a little freaky, be a little weird. I know Anthony Richardson is a freak. I just need to figure out, can he be that lady? And I think he can with the help of Shane Steichen, okay? This is Shane's pretty woman moment. He's going to make a woman out of Anthony Richardson, and I'm going to be laughing at all of y'all when I'm proven right.
Can't wait. If there's NFL rookie of the year odds out yet, I don't know when those pop out, but I would love for you to put your money where your mouth is and put some money on Anthony.
I say rookie of the year. I've literally just laid out a 2-year plan where you rehire Jeff Saturday and just have Shane Steichen work with Anthony Richardson for an entire offseason, an entire year in the shadows, and then you bust him out in 2 years. Okay, just wait. BB and Anthony.
But that's
Richardson
the problem. Like T-Bob, like that. To me, that is the issue. And I had this, I thought about this as when I was, what was I, like 10, 11 years old. I remember I went up to my dad, and my brother was in the MLB. He just got drafted. And so he would see a personal trainer. So I was like, I want to go work out with my big brother. So I would start seeing the trainer with him. And, I'm like feeling strong. I'm getting muscles. I get little abs, that quarterback definedness. And I remember I went back to my dad. And I said, hey, what do you think about me taking the year off of football and just working out, just training, just working working on technique and lifting and speed drills? I'll come back stronger and faster. My dad's like, you're an idiot. I love you, but you're an idiot. The only way you get better at your sport is by playing your sport.
Yes.
The only way Anthony Richardson is going to get better at playing football is by playing football, not going and putting him in some lab and running tests on him and tweaking this and that and this and that and that. He needs to play football.
Yeah, that's what practice is for, Aaron. That's what practice is for. That's what the preseason's for.
They only have 2 preseason games now, not 4. Only 2. There's 2 less chances for him to play in the preseason.
Ryan Leaf 2.0. Well, that's just crazy. Ryan Leaf had incredible college stats. So that doesn't
hopefully
check
is that
out.
Ryan Leaf off the field.
No. Look, just we're gonna see. AR-15, number 1 overall. There's more legitimacy, and this is coming from the man in Aaron Murray, who constantly talks about how Bryce Young's size is such a hindrance to drafting him number 1 overall. So what is it, Aaron? One guy's too big, one guy's too small.
CJ Stroud, that's it.
Who's just
Pick
right?
CJ
Stroud. He's your Goldilocks quarterback in this draft. Okay.
I mean, if I'm taking one in this class, I'm taking CJ Stroud, or I'm going to wait to the 2nd round, 3rd round. I'm going to take Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that, dude. I want the Saints to take Hendon Hooker sometime. All right, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But never forget, guys, throwing the ball, overrated when it comes to quarterback play, especially nowadays. Brum wants us to get to Deion Sanders, as Deion was talking with the media the other day on the Rich Eisen show, and he was going through his blueprint for recruiting, right? And, of course, right now in Buffalo, and it's a little less than 2 months, that Colorado class is up to number 21 in the 23 rankings, which is kind of crazy. The number 4 transfer portal class has brought in 44 new guys. And he goes on to talk about how they have a blueprint, right? He says, for quarterbacks, we want smart, tough, fast, disciplined with care. Quarterbacks are different. We want mother, father, dual parents. We want that kid to be a 3.5 plus GPA. He's got to be smart. Can't make bad decisions off the field. He has to be a leader of men. There are so many attributes of what we look for. We would love a coach's son. That's what we look for in quarterbacks. And then interestingly, he gets an offensive defensive lineman. He says 2 completely different standards for the groups. For offensive linemen, quote, we look for dual parent homes and a strong father that they'd adhered to. They also need to be smart, have a 3.3 GPA or higher, and be tough and physical. Defensive line, totally the opposite. Single mother on free lunch, and he's just trying to make it. He's trying to rescue mama. I want him to just go get it. We know what, and we go get it. Now, it's interesting because these are very and I don't want to be, I don't want to be pigeonholed as like if you can't handle the truth guy, but this is, when you see those lines about dual parents and single parents, that is something that I think many people could construe as offensive, right? Because if I'm like a quarterback and I come from a single parent home, I'm reading that and I'm kind of like, what the fuck, man? Like, what, like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm just out here trying to make it. And now you're going to like ding me. That said, I think that Deion is talking about the thoughts and evaluations that, like, this is not pulled out of thin air. This is a lot of accepted kind of football school of thought and analytics. And although it is not, I guess, I don't know. I guess I've kind of seen a lot of this even firsthand in terms of these archetypes who are most successful at these positions. And it's not to say that it's 100% of the time, because there are absolutely exceptions to every rule. Yes. But what was your reaction to Deion kind of laying it out this explicitly?
My reaction to Deion was, Deion, you're not at Alabama. You're not at Georgia. You're not at USC. You take every damn player you can get that has a 4-star next to his name. I don't care if he has 1 parent, 2 parents, mom and our brother and sister raised him, was in an orphanage. If he can play football and he's pretty damn good, you are not in a position to be picky. If you get to be the big boys and you're winning championships and everyone under the sun wants, like, yes, he's done a good job recruiting, but he's still not a top 5 recruiter. He's still not recruiting 4- and 5-star guys left and right in a top 5, top 10 class. Like, he's working his way there. You are not right now in a position to sit down and say, you know what? You're a 4-star kid, but you don't meet my criteria. I'd rather take this 3-star kid. Maybe not as athletic, maybe not as big, but he comes from this. And this is my main criteria. No. Dad, you take ball players right now. And when you get to a level where you have so many kids wanting to go to Colorado, or if you take another job somewhere else, and you have between two guys, then that's when maybe that criteria can come into play. I got two quarterbacks. I'm looking at them. I love both of them. They're both 6'3", 210, can run, can throw. I don't really know which one I want to offer. This kid has two parents, 3.5 GPA. This kid doesn't. Had some issues in the classroom. I'm going to go with the kid that my plan A. Here you go. Here's your offer. Then you can do that. But right now, once again, Deion, you need athletes. We were laughing our asses off, T-Bob and I, when we saw the video of the first team meeting with Colorado. And we're used to seeing SEC locker rooms. We're used to seeing SEC. And you looked at that group of young men, and you're like, there's no way that team is ready to compete. No. So it sounds good in theory, but 3-4 years down the line, when you're winning 10 games and you have a top 5 class every year, you can start getting a little bit picky with who you want to get.
So now, to be clear, like, we don't know. Like, I don't.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah. What you got?
Aaron, that was a spectacular take.
Thank you.
Okay.
I loved it, and I think that's like the most interesting thing I've heard on this subject of, like, hey, Deion, beggars can't be choosers. Like,
but here's my counterpoint though. Deion ain't begging. Like, Deion's getting who he wants to get.
Oh, he is.
And Deion never told you he's saying no to the 5-star. I think it's more of the situation that you brought up, where if two guys are relatively equal, they're going to use these kind of fringe elements to be like, okay, where do we throw our lot in? And look, that's the ugly part about this shit. And regardless if it's honest or not, like, that's the part that I hate, is that you could have two quarterbacks that are viewed as being relatively equal, and yet one of them will get an opportunity that the other does not, simply because they were dealt a better card of hands for life, right? But let's not be dumb. Deion's not taking the 3-star guy from the middle class over like some 5-star quarterback athlete, like what that maybe came from a harder upbringing. Like, no. He's not saying that. He's just talking about the kind of parameters from which they try to solve some of these tough decisions. But also, I don't know that I don't know that I agree that Deion is begging. Who said it in the chat? I have to go back and find it. Slip is Dead said Deion can say what he wants and players are going to come. I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think Deion's going to get who he wants.
But he's still not recruiting a top 5 class. He's not. It's not top 5. It's not top 10. It's not top 15. It's top 25, which is great.
Graded on a curve, it is, in my opinion. Graded on a curve, doing what he did in Colorado.
He needs 2 or 3 of those classes. He needs 2 or 3 of those classes before we start feeling really good about the direction of Colorado. Because right now, let's be honest, those 5-star kids or 4-star kids, wherever he got to come to Colorado, they're used to winning. They're used to playing elite football. If you go to Colorado year 1 and say NIL, because Deion's, he said it, like, we'll find money for you, but we'll really see what kind of money comes into to Colorado when it comes to NIL opportunities for these kids. You go to Colorado year 1, you're not making a lot of NIL money. You're 4-8. Because, I mean, let's be realistic. Like, this is still a team that has a lot of growth to happen. Like, they're going to be fighting to make a bowl game. Those kids can easily just pick up and leave and go somewhere else and just say, you know what? It was cool. I had fun. The Deion effect was great for a year, but I want to go get paid. I want to go to Alabama. I want to go get money. I want to go win championships. I want to go play in the SEC. They just got Texas and Oklahoma. Like, it's a pretty badass conference. So until you have 3 or 4 years of successful recruiting and you build up that base on your football team, you are not in a position, in my belief, to be as nitpicky as what he seems to be. Once again, like, I get yes, if you're right.
I don't think he's,
if you know 2 kids are ready to commit to you today and you're picking between the 2, then yes, you can go to the finer details. But that is, I just don't know if they're there yet, though.
Here's the deal with Colorado, though, bruh. I mean, it's very soon going to be a very attractive place to go play. It's in a state whose economy is so robust that I don't know if this is still the case, but I know like a few years ago after they legalized marijuana that they actually had to give money back to their taxpayers because the tax revenues collected off of weed sales were so impactful. You're talking about one of
they're
those
also in a conference that's about to die.
Well, but here in the short term, that does not work against Deion. It makes the road to the playoff and getting on that elite stage that much easier, right? Sure, he's going to, no, he's not even going to have to overcome USC. He's going to have to overcome Oregon. Certainly Washington looks like they're ready to be relevant and consistent again. But, when did Deion take over Jackson State? 2020, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Right. He went there in 2020. So 2019, Jackson State was 4-8, then 4-3, then 11-2, then 12-1. Only losing.
The big difference, though, T-Bob, is you
season.
get some 4 and 5 stars at Jackson State. That is a major jump to competition. You get a couple 4 or 5 stars to Colorado. That's no different than what Oregon has already been doing, what Washington's already been doing. There isn't like a major talent gap that you saw at Jackson State because you brought in 5 5-stars or 5 4-stars.
Let's see. Where are these 247 team rankings? Because I would be, I get what you're saying, but I would, so Oregon finished 8th here, right? And Colorado, where are they? Okay, Colorado's on 30 at 247. I would feel a bit on notice if I was a Pac-12 team and I watched Deion put together, arguably a top 25 class in the 4th best transfer portal ranking coming off of a 1-11 season in a place that people do not traditionally think about football. Like, I think that the level of excitement that he brings, especially in the NIL era, if turnaround starts to happen this year, NIL investment, like I said, a thriving economy, I think NIL investment will follow. Like, I think you'll be able to go to Colorado and get paid like you would at some of these other schools. So I am incredibly bullish on Deion long-term here in the Pac-12.
I am too. Like, I'm very bullish on Deion. I think Deion, I've been high on Deion. I love the hire. Yeah. I think it's great. I just don't think he should be so picky with his recruits. I'm more concerned long term with, you talk about the appeal of Colorado. The Pac-12 is their lifeline almost. It seems like right now is Apple TV.
But they're locked into the playoff. That's the thing. They're locked into the playoff though. Like, they're not losing that automatic bid anytime soon.
12 games out, 12 games. You're going to be on Apple TV. You're going to have to tell mom and dad to go buy a subscription to Apple TV so they can watch their son play football.
Yes. Well, so that's actually another conversation that I kind of want to get into here where, the continued outflanking of the Big 12 or of the Pac-12 by the Big 12 should be studied in military textbooks, right? Where the Big 12, instead of trying to maximize, they got more than they had, but not maybe as much as they could, but they secured their future, right? They kind of fortified their defenses, whereas the Pac-12 got a little greedy, a little overextended, and next thing you know, they're kind of left in between the two cities in a bit of no man's land, and with nobody really coming to rescue them. If you don't know what we're talking about, the Apple TV is kind of the latest rumored partner with the Pac-12, and this is fascinating. But to me, the most fascinating part about all of that issue is that when you start reading about that, what you realize is that streaming numbers, like, remember how we all thought that streaming was going to take over for traditional television, and it felt like it absolutely was, and it was doing it for a while? Well, we all kind of discounted just how much people love live sports. And live sports, they're still just able to easily watch on the networks that they are used to watching them on, right? It is almost single, like I read that out of the past, 75 of the top 100 rated broadcasts on all of television last year were NFL games, right? So a lot of analysts thought that this was going to be a bubble, right? That eventually sports on TV would crash and streaming would take over. But sports on TV are thriving currently. And the advertising behind the sports on TV are higher than they've ever been. Like, the amount of money that you can make is higher than it's ever been. And so it's this weird thing where I don't think a lot of people saw this coming, but streaming is, it's not dead. Netflix made a $6 billion profit last year.
It's young
but
still.
Struggling. It is struggling. It is young, and it's young. Yes. Eventually, I do think the transition happens sometime, right? But I don't know what it looks like, right? Because even something like Hulu TV, like Hulu Live, it feels more like almost traditional TV. Here's the bottom line.
To me, it's like traditional TV, but I can watch it on my iPad. I can watch it on my phone if I want to.
Yeah.
To me,
But
yes.
I guess as I started to read about this, my jaw was just kind of slack. Me and Brum were going before the show. Peacock lost NBC lost $2.5 billion on the Peacock network. Paramount Plus lost $1.8 billion on that streaming service. HBO Max lost $1.8 billion. Disney lost $4 billion on Disney Plus and Hulu. And Aaron, this is with 162 million subscribers paying $11 a month. That's $22 billion alone. And yet Disney spent $33 billion estimated on production in 2022, which just blows my mind. How in the world do you spend? But what you're seeing is all this means is that there aren't that many buyers out there. ESPN and Disney are already overextended. They're pulling back. Fox has actually been a big winner in all this because they kind of struck with traditional TV and it's paying huge dividends for them now. They've gained college football market share, etc. But they're also, they're kind of good on the college football front. They reinvested where they want to. They have no desire to get the Pac-12, at least not at some crazy price. No, nobody else is driving it up. And so not only like streaming is, as an entire industry, it's still questionable as to what the actual value of streaming is. And now that's the only place that's looking to pick up the Pac-12. But here's where it gets interesting is I do wonder, how long does it take for the Pac-12 to actually die then, or will die? Because they feel very dead. But as I said, they're going to still have that automatic bid, and they would have that automatic bid for the foreseeable future, right?
Yeah, they're going to have it. They're a Power 5 conference. They don't seem very powerful is the problem. It's just, to me, if I'm Oregon or Washington, and I think they're the last two. Like if there's some kind of shakeup at the top, and we've seen this alliance between conferences or allegiance to your conference. At the end of the day, it's about dollars. It's all it is. It's about dollars. And if they come back and say, hey guys, we are going to go with Apple TV and this is what you're going to get each year, while the SEC and Big Ten are getting $50 million a year, while the Big 12 is getting, I don't know, mid-30s or whatever it is, and you're going to get way down here for revenue. If I'm the big boys, I'm going to say, you know what? That playoff sounds great, but that additional $30 million a year sounds even better. And I'd rather take my chances in an expanded playoff, getting in without maybe an automatic bid, but still having a chance to get in while also putting $30 million in my pocket every year from TV revenue.
Yeah, no, let's be clear. When I say it's beneficial to Deion, I mean in the short term. In the long term, this is bad for the whole Pac-12. It's why Oregon and Washington and others are going to have to leave, because eventually that money gap will just make things worse and worse and worse, and eventually you just die slow, protracted economic death. Do you have to go do your radio show in 3 minutes?
Because when NIL hits, let's go back real quick.
Oh yeah.
Why NIL works for a lot of these universities, these big time universities, especially in the SEC, is because you can essentially tell a booster, we're making plenty of money. And yes, we will still take your donations, but we're making $50 million from TV revenue. That can offset what we're losing from a handful of our donors. We would rather you take that money and throw it to NIL. But if I'm Colorado or these other schools that are $30 million below, and I still have to create good facilities for these kids, I need that money for boosters. So now you are competing in the NIL front. You are competing with collectives to drive in that money because you're not getting that extra revenue as much as the big boys. Like, this is all big issues for the Pac-12 with NIL, with facilities, with money that ain't going away anytime soon. So yes, it's going to be, you can't, once again, this goes back to the being picky with Deion. Beggars can't be choosers in this situation when you kind of look at what your conference and the direction it's going.
But what Pac-12 coach is better suited to working from an economic disadvantage than Deion? As the amount of investment that he built up at Jackson State is shocking from what it was to where he left it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the potential is there to pull off something similar in Colorado, at least in the short term. What?
Difference is...
Wait. Do you have to do your radio show real quick? Do you have to do your radio show?
No, I don't. Not today.
Okay. All right, cool.
The difference is the narrative is different, T-Bob. You could go to a Walmart and you can talk about the cause. This is an HBCU. They have had no national recognition. They don't have the resources. the entire HBCU needs resources. They need more funding. They need this, they need that. And you can sell that story. You're in the big boy league. You're in a Power 5 conference. You're at Colorado. That's a different narrative. Walmart doesn't want to help Colorado. Walmart's fine helping a HBCU because it looks good for them, supporting an HBCU.
But they got a lot of rich boosters out of Colorado. I mean, somebody pointed out in the chat earlier, he sold out a Colorado basketball game simply because him and the staff were going to be there. You got a lot of people that have a lot of money that would love nothing more than for their football team to be relevant. And if there's one thing I've learned interacting with college football boosters is that these dudes have way too much money and they tie so much of themselves up in when you have everything, what does everything eventually become? Like when you are freed from monetary concern and you no longer are worried about food on the table, paying for this, paying for that, what do you care about? You care about bragging rights. You care about pride. Well, okay. If you have someone who can bring you both of those, you're going to start investing in that. So it's like, the narrative is different. I definitely understand what you're saying, but I could also argue that the narrative is the same, or the same in way, just that the money is going to be more so, right? In terms of, Colorado started from a way better place than he was at Jackson State. And it's not exactly like, it's like help Jackson State, like they need help. Our institutions are being ignored. Like it's not that at Colorado, but I still think that he can have a significant impact on increasing economic investment.
They are in a better situation now and I'm not being a Debbie Downer on Deion. I think Deion, to me, I wanted Deion to go to Auburn. I thought Auburn would have been in a better situation with Deion. Deion is what I want as a head coach. Not
Auburn
being a
and
Debbie
Hugh
Downer.
Are perfect. Auburn and Hugh Freeze are perfect.
I do want to go to the chat real quick though, because I do.
Let's get to the super chat. Cody Tony Wilson.
We have a super chat. Yeah, Cody Tony Wilson. Aaron, would you ever consider being QB coach at UGA? Yes, I would consider it. I would love it. Would love that big fat paycheck too. But my wife would absolutely hate it. And,
so you would not actually love it, though. You're
kids.
Lying. You would not actually love it. You have no desire to actually be a college football coach. You just want the money.
No.
Fair?
I would love to be a coach. No. The money's nice. The money is what gets you through those 11 o'clock meetings at night. But from the 6 to 10 o'clock is like, I love this. But then that 10 to midnight is like, well, I'm getting paid a nice big fat paycheck. So I'll stay up for a couple more hours and grind through more tape.
See, I don't even think it's worth the money, dude. Like, I don't live to work. I work to live, right? Like I love this.
Enjoy it. I would enjoy it.
I would probably do this. I would enjoy elements of it, but not enough of it, dude. You're just too goddamn busy, and you're only getting busier.
If I was someone who I was like, you know what, I never want to get married. I never want to have kids.
Yes. Okay. Exactly.
I would coach. I would coach. Yeah.
If I was someone with a crippling obsession, if I was someone with a crippling obsession that wanted to live the life of just a pure, like a football monk, then yes, I would go coach football, right? But I want free time to see friends and family and travel and watch a little television at night and maybe play a little Hogwarts
T-Bob,
Legacy.
You ain't about that. You ain't about. T-Bob ain't about getting to that tape. That's the problem. I love watching the tape. I love watching the tape.
I have no problem watching the tape. I love watching the tape. And actually this year was so awesome because for the first time in my professional career, thanks to Snaps, I had like time in between shows where I could actually justify being like, hey, I got to sit down and watch this film, right? But what I'm not about is everything else. I'm not about any job that requires me to be there 10 to 12 hours a day. I'm not about getting on my knees for 16 and 17-year-olds, especially in the age of NIL. I'm not about having to manage feelings because I'm worried about guys hitting the transfer portal. No, these are all things that I am not about. And I'm not about like never seeing my family or kids or anything because I'm just busy 24/7. So no, I think you're doing a little stolen valor thing here where you're trying to pretend to be like a hardcore gritty football guy that like wants to coach football, you don't actually want to coach football. You may want to coach in the NFL. I'll give you that. I too would be attracted to the idea of coaching in the NFL because it's like all the BS is removed. Long days, but like I always liked how Sean Payton talked about it, where he'd be like, look, we treat it like a submarine. During the season, you're going to be here, but I'm going to give you a full off season. Yeah. Like you're going to be able to hang out with your family. You're going to be able to golf. You're going to be able to do all these things you want to do in the off season. Like I would love to coach in the NFL. Don't get me wrong, but you just don't go to the league. You got to start in college, and that life ain't for me. And I think you're a liar if you're saying it's for you, dude. Liar.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Fun though.
We'll see. I mean, we will see. Is Kirby, are you reporting something?
Kirby, send me that contract, and we'll have the discussion.
Where are we at with you and Stetson? Is Stetson still getting a statue? How do we feel about our guy?
Well, we'll have to say that for another show.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Man, the fall happens fast, doesn't it, dude? Let's see. B-Bean says, T-Bob, so if Brian Kelly calls you, pick up the phone. No. Look, you pick up the phone. And, okay, to your point. If all of a sudden it's like, hey, you want $500K to coach offensive line, I'm going to have to really think about that. Like, I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. Yeah. My point is that shit don't happen. You have to go put in all those hours and all that work, but go do it at like, I don't know, Northwestern State, then Arkansas State, maybe, or you got to go be a GA at Georgia and not get paid. Like, yeah, so if it's a fantasy world, you're going to get bumped up to a cushy job, sure, maybe.
And also you have to live with the idea that you're literally moving every 2 to 3 years.
All the time. Oh my God! One of my roommate Christian Robinson, hell of a coach.
Shout out Crop. Hey, excuse me, my high school teammate before your roommate. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah. But C-Rob was at Georgia, Mississippi State, then went with Mullen to Florida, then went to Auburn. They get fired, whole staff, and now is at Baylor. He's been at 5 schools in
making great money.
8 years.
Making great money.
He's making great money. He's making tons of money. He's probably around that $500,000 range.
Yeah,
five locations in 7 years. Yeah.
Does he have a family yet? You
know, he's a wife.
Okay,
that's it. 2 dogs. His new puppy, new little chocolate lab.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really sweet. His dad used to coach us too. Hey, Aaron, I put together my first parlay of the 2023 season. FanDuel right now has early lines out. And, okay, so I went with a week 0 and week 1 3-teamer here. I got Colorado plus 17.5 at TCU.
Woo!
I got Notre Dame minus 17.5 in Ireland. I mean, if the fucking Catholic Irish can't get it done in Ireland, the Fighting Irish can't get it done in Ireland, what are we even doing anymore? And then I've got LSU plus 1 in Orlando versus Florida State. I love I love the rhythm here. Come on, son. You can't think, you can't really be a Mike Norvell believer, dude. Get the fuck get out of here. Mike Norvell is sitting on Deion Sanders' egg. Okay, he is holding the nest down for Deion Sanders until he comes and takes his job. I just love the fact that I have minus 17.5, plus 17.5, and then a pick 'em. It feels right. Pays out 5 to 1.
It sucks that you're gonna have such a great parlay, and it's just gonna come to an absolute end by some blocked extra point in Orlando on a Sunday night game between LSU and Florida State. That's unfortunate. I would take that one off the board. You probably already placed the bet, so it's too late.
I already put the money in.
Yeah, it's too late. Florida State's going to win the ACC next year. They're going to go 11-1 and start off with a big national win versus LSU to get things going.
Have you been hanging out with Danny Cannell? What's going on? You been hanging out with DK? Well, I don't explain where this is coming from. Okay, how about this? Looking forward, because look, picking week 0 and week 1 lines, I feel like it's pretty stupid. Like you want to look for like value later in the year, like teams that are
especially when there's a transfer portal that's going to open up again at the end of spring, and both rosters could be completely different. I mean,
what are you, a coward, dude? Who cares? Nobody that comes in summer ever has any.
Yeah, I like to know what I'm going to spend my money on.
if you transfer after spring, you're relevant. How about this?
Well,
Off the bat here,
one of LSU's star receivers just got arrested.
No. Charge dismissed. Charge dismissed. It was a misdemeanor gun charge. Okay. Dismissed thanks to lack of any criminal record previously. And, he's enrolled in college. Police said, not a big deal. You just got to forfeit the gun and you're good to go.
Can we talk about these kids carrying guns like college athletes?
Here's the deal, though. I can feel Brum like, no, let's not talk about it. All I'm going to say is I know a ton of people that carry guns. And I think a bit ironically, the people that I know that carry guns are the ones who are like, why is he carrying a gun? No, I will never judge a person for carrying a gun because the bottom line, it is in our culture to carry guns, legal or illegal. Everybody grows up around it. And we all do what we grow up around. Look, B2B Visor says he's packing right now. Okay, so I mean, look, I'm not a gun guy. I don't even own a gun for home protection because I think the potential for some sort of accident around the house is far greater than what I would need it for protection. I sleep with a baseball bat besides my bed. You come to my house, you get your ass fucking cracked, Walking Dead style, okay? But no, I'm not going to judge anyone for carrying guns. If you do something awful like Darius did from Alabama, or if you commit murder,
I don't know. I don't know. That whole Alabama case is just the whole nother time. Sorry, Brown. We won't.
So we're doing a show tomorrow, or what are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing a show tomorrow. We'll talk about it another time, another place. I don't. That's like another.
I will relax.
I don't think
I got to go pick up little man from daycare. So
there's legal whatever. Here's a couple of bets that I think have value. UGA -7.5 at Tennessee right now feels damn good. Like by the time that game is played, by the time that game is played, Aaron, you're going to tell me that you don't think UGA is going to be favored by more than 7.5. That's my question.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's at
what
Neyland,
about LSU?
I don't know. It's at Neyland.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. You know who's going to be kneeling? Tennessee. Okay. They're going to be on their knees after Georgia's done with them. What about LSU +9.5 at Bama? Think that number will be closer by game time?
Yeah.
Are you taking Bama?
Now. I may put something on that one right now.
Oh, there we go.
I may take LSU money line on that one.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, boys. Georgia -17.5 at Florida against Florida. I don't think there's much to be said there. Texas -5.5 versus Oklahoma. Is that too small given the 49-0 murdering in last year's Texas-Oklahoma game?
No. Oklahoma's going to be the surprise of the Big 12.
Okay. USC -3 at Notre Dame. Can't believe West
-3 at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wins the game. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. We'll see. But if you want to go gamble on FanDuel, FanDuel.com/sportsbook, use the promo code SNAPS for great sign-up deals. And you, too, can go place bets on Week 11 of the 2023 college football season. Way too early bets, much greater than way too early mock drafts. All right. I think it's going to do it for today's show. Brum, are we hit on everything? Yeah, we're good to go. We still will get to Disney princesses and coaches when we get back to our regularly scheduled programming. It's a bit of a weird week, but vacations are done for now. Hey, look, if you're listening on podcasts, we love you. Please rate and review the show. It's a great way to help kind of grow the show. If you are watching on youtube.com/the volume, we thank you. Hit the like button, sub to the channel. And if you want to help us out, all those ways help. Or like I said, sign up for FanDuel using the promo code SNAPS. Are all great metrics to which to please our bosses. Aaron, you have a great day. Huge thank you to Aaron Murray. Huge thank you to Paul Farrington, Pat Gunner, Ryan Brumley, Danny Cardenas, Adam Gracia. We love you. And we will see you Monday on a new Snaps. Are we doing Monday? Are we doing one tomorrow?
Monday, baby.
Monday. Okay.
Monday.
Back on Monday. We love you all. Everybody have a great weekend.